Giles Shrimpton. I'm the CEO of NNG. I've just recently relocated to Budapest in Hungary. It's if you haven't had the opportunity to visit it, I thoroughly recommend it. It's one of the world's truly beautiful cities. I also bring with myself a long experience in the industry, supplying as a first tier or a second tier the majority of car manufacturers in the world. Today, what I want to focus on, what you know about NNG, the people who know, is that we supply a navigation product, but I would like to focus on a different aspect of our business. We have a very important element, which is the professional services bit, and particularly the development of user interfaces and making sure that we create user interfaces that make the car desirable. One second. Okay. Okay, great. So first what I'll do is I'll just introduce NNG briefly. As I've said, we supply global automotive navigation software and infotainment solutions. We actually supply to over 30 car brands in the world. We have a strong professional services activity where we mainly develop user interfaces and we test new technology. We are a white label company, so you don't see our brand. We have a navigation engine which you can integrate on all the major hardware and operating systems. And we have a UX engine which is extremely flexible. And what's amazing about NNG is if you look at all the different versions we supply, it's very difficult to identify that it comes from us because they're all totally different. We have a global one technology solution in as much as we supply all major markets in the world, and that includes Japan, China, Korea, India, Thailand, etc. And we are content agnostic. We integrate and create solutions for over 60 content providers, content and service providers. So what is the problem? Why is the car becoming less desirable? So the stuff we know, the in-car user experience lags the CE devices. There's a poor overall experience between different devices. The overall buying and owning experience is not designed around connectivity. I'd like to add a few statistics to that. A recent study, 60% of respondents stated that the usability of the infotainment system was a key determinant of whether they would buy the vehicle for a particular brand. The iPhone was introduced in 2007. We are still being asked to develop systems which are fundamentally non-connected. And there's a number of studies that are around which show the issue of, let's say, the millennials or the under 45s are actually buying less vehicles. I have my own personal experience. I have 3 older sons. They're all over 18. I have not been able to get them to take their driving test. They're always spending the money on either their girlfriends or extreme activities, but the car is not making them excited in any way. And I think a lot of this is to do with the overall experience when you get into the vehicle. It's just, I think there is, and I think we would all agree, there is room, I would say, for improvement. Going to talk briefly about the trends. You'll see a slide like this, I guess, a lot over the next couple of days. I just want to highlight a few things that we're seeing. Clearly, with the development of the whole infrastructure, which includes the embedded vehicle, which includes the smartphone, includes cloud. We're seeing in security, and certainly the industry is waking up to cybersecurity, and we're seeing demand for more secure types of solutions. In terms of the environment, we've done a lot of investments in developing good solutions around electrical vehicles, and we're finally seeing, in terms of licensing, we're actually seeing the take-up of electrical vehicle type solutions. Although the smartphone is always there, and we're being asked to integrate smartphone as a companion app, we continue to see that integrated navigation continues to increase in terms of penetrations. It's been going on for about 10% per year for the last 20 years. And part of, let's say, at the end of this list, we talk about displays, and what we are seeing is we're seeing that the problematic is we're seeing the demand for more displays in the car. So now we're developing products which have 2 or 3 displays in the vehicle. And of course, one of probably the biggest thing that is shaking the whole industry is the move to autonomous vehicles. I guess from my perspective, this is as big a technical challenge as the one we set ourselves in the 60s when we said we would put a rocket on the moon. It is a huge technical issue. If you look at cars today, the luxury cars, they have over 100 ECUs. They have over 100 million lines of code. If I just look at our area in navigation, we're now, for our high-end versions, we're going over 2 million lines of code. So the level of complexity is significantly increasing. Specifically looking at the display part, so in the 80s we were developing stuff for analog cluster meters and analog radios. In the latest products now, you have a central display which is getting larger and portrait. You have the digital cluster meter. You have a heads-up display. And moving forward, it's predicted that car mirrors will actually disappear, and we'll have another two displays in the car. So we're talking about 3 to 5 displays, and then actually working out relative information that keeps the driver's eyes on the roads, not distracting, is safe, managing the mental workloads, etc., etc. To give you an example, this is a system we've just introduced in Japan. We're very proud of it. It's a very beautiful system. It has the central display and the digital cluster meter, and it's able to display different information on the two displays at the level of 3D maps. And I've just got a short video to just show you. Just if we can get the volume. Anyway, so I think I'm going to have to speak over this one. So at the moment, we're showing the input of telephone numbers, which is a key input methodology in Japan. It also has the other sorts of input methodologies. My Japanese is not that good. So they're going to Tokyo Tower. And there's some nice music going on. This is the ETC system. So they've just introduced a new system called ETC 2.0. This is fully dependent on the ETC. It tells you which lane to go into. The gates, when you go through, automatically open. And it takes the money off your credit card and tells you how much is taken off. Then we have the VIC system. Again, there's a new version of the VIC system that's been introduced. Again, this system is fully what they call the wide system of VICs. It's fully able to conform with that system. And then the other aspect of this product, which is impressive, is the integration we've done with the sensors in the car. So it has a slope sensor, it has a 3D gyro, and it's capable of positioning itself very, very well on the kind of complex junctions where you can have stacked 6 or 7 lanes in Japan. Okay, I guess that's about... Anyway, we're very, very, it's a very, very nice, and now they've arrived, so perfect. Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to, if I can move on, perfect. And the problem is not just the display. We're introducing, the industry is introducing lots of different input methodologies. So you clearly have voice, you have haptic controls, you have gesture controls, and I'm sure that we will continue to innovate in this space. But when you take all this together, you have the 3 senses, you have the visual, you have the audible, and then you have the tactile senses. You have to bring this together into a human design where it caters for the older people, the younger people, and this is becoming increasingly difficult. I think we don't do a fantastic job today, and we are actually increasing the complexity in this space. So to design, what's really, really important is we need to design our cars around the human. And then what is this next generation HMI, and what is this next generation driver? The next generation driver is almost certainly is a millennial, so it's someone that is used to the connected world, that expects a kind of wow experience. It's the next generation HMI is something that makes simple all this incredible complexity that we are working on today. So it's a particularly difficult problematic. So what are we doing in NNG around this? You can see from the concept through to the post-production, you have for us 3 big areas. You clearly have the prototyping area of design. You have the product engineering, where you actually develop the stuff. And then you have all the post-sales experience, which is to do with internet portals. For us, it's to do with map downloads. It's to do with providing services, et cetera, et cetera. In our navigation space, then we do all 3 of those activities. So we prototype a lot of new technologies with partners. We like to show off exactly what you can do with the technology. We develop a huge amount of different user interfaces in parallel. I think at the moment we have over 50 different user interfaces for different customers that are actually being developed in parallel. And we do a lot of work in terms of that internet portal, how you actually get dynamic information into your products and how you present that to the user. But we also have a second activity that we've added to NNG, which we purchased a company about a couple of years ago called Enfusion, that's very, very focused on the prototyping part. So what they do is they take the latest technology, the latest platforms, and they work with the car industry to actually create concept cars and demonstrations and to show how you effectively, what we do in this space is we create a virtual car. And we have a set of design tools that allows you to say, this is my standard user experience. So we create assets. And then we have a new technology, which can be a new service. We're actually showing an AccuWeather new service at the show. So we take and then we integrate that into this virtual car. And then we can do a user test. We can do very, very fast loops to come to that kind of great, seamless integration, that fantastic user interface that we're all actually looking for. So I'm going to conclude. We're in most remarkable time of technical innovation at the moment. We're seeing more innovation at the moment in the car industry, mainly driven by autonomous driving, than we've seen, let's say, in the last 20 years. It's getting, and basically with that, the complexity we are creating is getting exponentially more complex. So we're talking about more input methods, we're talking about more displays. But at the end of the day, we've got to keep this simple, this idea that less is more. So what I would, and I think in this room, we're also kind of tackling some of the really, really big problems kind of facing humanity in a sense. You know, we're tackling the environment, we're tackling security and safety, we're tackling congestion and coming up with conclusions. But certainly from my perspective, what I would love to see that we as an industry manage to do is we manage to create a fantastic user interface which my 3 sons can get into the car and they can be really proud, and your children can be really proud of what they're experiencing and what they're doing. And this is an area where NNG is focusing on and also trying to help. Okay, thank you very much.